As 2018 winds down, it's time to plan for next year and how you can make the most of what you've earned this year. How to plan how much you will owe Uncle Sam come next April. Here this morning with some helpful tips to get the most out of what you've earned is Greg Hill, financial advisor with Radiant Financial Group. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
We know we have to pay taxes, but we want to lighten the load. So how can we put a bow on it for 2018 and lighten the load for when we file?
Well, let me just make one qualifying statement. Everybody's situation is different, right? So I'll make some suggestions now, but you need to spend some time with your individual tax advisor and your own professional to make sure you have things that are tailored to your own needs. First things first, tax code changes every year. People think maybe something special today. No, actually, it's always changing. Over 10,000 pages. I don't think there's a person on earth that fully understands the tax code. But right now, what I would suggest is take a look at your individual W-4 withholding, because the tax code has changed. You may not be taking enough out of your paycheck,
and so then you're going to have to owe.
Then you'll owe, or you're maybe taking too much because the marginal tax rates have changed. So you want to make sure you take the proper amount out. So I'd go back to your CPA, or even go to your employer and say, hey, listen, let me take a look at that.
Okay. So we hear that, perhaps maybe, if you have a 401k, you ought to be socking more money into that now?
That would be the easiest and most important thing I would suggest that anyone do, is that more money you can actually put more money in a 401k and into an IRA. The limits have increased. So the more you can put in there, the more you reduce your taxable income, the more you save on taxes.
Okay. You could make an extra mortgage payment. Would that help?
Listen, always good to pay off your mortgage. If you can make an extra mortgage payment, you get that deduction this year, you might as well do it.
Okay, we've heard that the itemized deduction is like almost gone. Remember when you drop something off at Goodwill and you want the ticket so that you can itemize? Not so much.
Unfortunately, they've removed many of those itemized deductions, but you have also your individual exemption has almost doubled. So you get that benefit, so you need to look at that as well.
Okay. So I've heard that if you plan to get divorced, that perhaps maybe you should do it by the end of the year. Is that true?
Well, divorce is a complicated subject.
I would imagine.
And what I would suggest is, before you make any decisions on divorce, really sit down with your tax advisor, because it's a little bit more complicated than just
just saying, yes, I want a divorce.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the stock market lately has been up and down, and people are starting to use the R word for next year, recession. What's your thought on that?
Well, markets in general hate uncertainty, and we have a lot of global uncertainty right now, whether we're going to be in a trade war or not, what's going on with the interest rates, we're going to raise them. So whenever that kind of uncertainty exists, you're going to see volatility. Now, volatility is not unique. I mean, it happens. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've seen this many, many times. What is important is you need to make sure that you take a close look at your own portfolio, especially if you're in retirement, and make sure that you don't have too much risk. We have been moving more and more into equities, and probably you need to be more balanced going forward as the interest rates start rising.
Okay, so you don't want everything in just one bag.
No, and particularly that bag is going to be a little bit more volatile. There's risk-reward concept, right? And more risk, more reward.
It really is about, the uncertainty as you talk about, but it seems as though it's almost on a whim. If somebody says something, the market could go down. If somebody says something, it could go up. So it really becomes a game almost.
And honestly, for those people that are investors, you really need to take a look at more of a long-term approach and not overreact to these type of things. Look, there's a lot of information moving around, and people can make, irrational decisions. So what I would say, again, especially now at the end of the year, take the time, look at your overall financial plan, make sure you take a close look at your portfolio, and make sure it meets your needs for today, tomorrow, and in the future.
All right, we've got some thinking to do before the end of the year. Greg Hill, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right.